Hello and welcome back to Renew, Revive, Repair, and today you join me with my car. It's a Seat Leon with a 1.6 TDI. So this has engine code CAYC, so that's 105 horsepower, and we have a problem. So here's the engine bay, and the fault code that comes up whilst driving is P0087. This is the fuel rail low pressure. So today I'm going to cover all of the fuel components within the engine bay and in the tank, and then we'll diagnose and see what the problem with this car is. At the moment, the fault code only occurs mostly when slowing down or coming off the accelerator and braking. So that's a common theme with every time the fault codes come up. But when you turn the ignition off and back on, the car runs fine again and you get full power again. So let's see what's going on. First of all, we'll disconnect the battery. So to disconnect the battery, just remove the battery cover here. And with a 10mm wrench, you can undo this nut. But we've got to unplug this sensor first. After the battery is disconnected, we'll remove the engine cover. This is held on by 4 tabs, where this one's broken. And now I'll go through all of the components related to the fuel system. So coming around to the side, when you're at the fuel station, you fill up the fuel in this cap here, in the nozzle. There's a hose that connects the fuel into the car's tank, which sits down there. And you can actually access that tank underneath this seat. There is a sender unit, a fuel sender unit that pumps fuel at low pressure from the tank at the back all the way to the front of the car. So back at the front, we have 2 fuel lines here. One's a send and one's a return line. So the fuel comes up from the back in the tank into this fuel filter, where any debris or particles from the tank gets filtered out. And then the fuel goes into this high pressure fuel pump here. On the high pressure fuel pump, there's a fuel metering valve, which works on a PWM pulse width modulation signal and controls how much fuel gets sent into the actual pump itself. And this high pressure fuel pump is driven by a timing belt, which spins around based on the engine RPM. So as that spins around, the fuel gets pumped at high pressure and it follows this line here. So that the excess fuel will return back into the fuel filter there, but anything else goes into this metal pipe and enters a fuel common rail. On the common rail, there are 2 sensors. The one on the very left is a fuel pressure sensor. The car must see around 300 bar in order for the engine to start. And on the other end is the fuel pressure relief valve. So this opens and closes to maintain the desired fuel rail pressure. Connected to this fuel common rail are our 4 injectors. So in the past, we've already had 4 new injectors on this car when I bought it. You can see they look pretty brand spanking new. So when I had the code P0087, I did not think about the injectors at first, since they were only 2 years old. So my first port of call, without any testing, which is a bad idea, was change the sender unit inside the car, because the car is a 2011 plate, so it is about 15 years old. But that didn't fix the car. But at least there's a peace of mind that the sender unit is providing good enough fuel pressure. Next up, I changed the fuel metering valve. That also didn't help. And then I've also changed the common rail, which also has not helped. But I finally bought some tools for diagnosing, and I did a fuel leak-off test on these 4 injectors, because the car starts absolutely fine when it's cold, but not when it's hot. And I also noticed that in the 4th injector, the label is kind of very warm and different to the other 3. So maybe only 3 were changed and not the 4th one. Because of this leak-off test, I will now put on a screen the results of that. And the 4th injector does leak a lot of fuel when the engine is warm. So what we're going to do today is change out this 4th injector. To change out this 4th injector, I'm going to unplug injectors 3 and 4 to get this wiring harness out of the way. And then I'll undo the bolts holding on the fuel connectors. And then there's 1 bolt down there to get rid of. And then we should be able to remove this injector. So there's this turbo actuator, which is in the way as well. So we'll unplug that as well. That one first. Injector 4, injector 3, and there's a clip. Okay, so get rid of that. With the electrical connectors unplugged, we've now got to remove the leak-off pipes. So we've got to pull out that clip and that clip. And we'll use some needle-nosed pliers. This will be a 2-handed job, so bear with me a second. So the 2 metal clips there, and they are removed. So we can now encourage the fuel leak-off pipes to come off. You can first of all try wiggling it with your hand, and if that doesn't work, you can use a flathead screwdriver to encourage it out. So that's one off, and then the other. So that's the second one off. The next step is removing the fuel pipe connector between the injectors and the common fuel rail. Even though we're just changing our injector 4, we've got to do this for 3 and 4 because the one bolt here clamps down on both injectors. So we use a 17mm spanner, and we'll first of all crack off these nuts. That's one loose, and I'm not sure we have space to get the rest off without undoing 1 and 2 as well. I'm going to have to undo 1, 2 first, and then 3, 4. Okay, so having undone all of the common rail connections to the injectors, we've now taken off the bolt with the 2 injectors on the right hand side, this bolt, and we'll now have to pull this injector out. So here's a tip that I'll share with you that I found online. If you get one of the fuel connector pipes and connect one end to it, you can then use it as extra leverage and wiggle that injector out. You can see it's starting to come out a little bit. So I'll keep doing this, wiggle it back and forth until it pops out. Okay, so the 4th injector has come out now. So I'll undo the fuel connector and pop this onto number 3 and wiggle that one out as well. So you can see that one's all loose now, and we'll get to number 3 out. Okay, so we're on number 3 now, and we'll wiggle this one and get this one out as well. Okay, so both have been loosened now, and they both come out together. Like that. Lovely. And so remember, that's number 4. That's the one we're replacing with a new one that's in the bag here. So we'll just take off all of these caps and then swap it with number 4. So in preparing the new injector, which is the middle one, I've noticed that of the 2 that I've taken out, these 2 do not have a rubber seal there. So I've gone and grabbed a replacement, and we'll put this on there before we reinstall. Okay, so the new injector's in. You can see by the new sticker for the injector coating. I've got a new stretch bolt. That's the old one. Always remember to change the stretch bolt because they're a one-time use. And now we're going to torque this bolt down to 8 Newton meters plus 180 degrees. So I've got a torque wrench set to 8 Newton meters. So unfortunately, I didn't manage to record the reinstallation of the components, but reinstalling is just the reversal of removal, so that should be pretty easy if you made sure you took a record or recorded what you were doing. And just to show that replacing the injector has fixed that problem, I'm going to start the engine from cold, and in fact it even idles smoothly when the engine is cold, which didn't used to before. So this must have meant that my injector was going bad about a year ago. But that's when I noticed that idle when the engine is cold was always a bit lumpy and rough. So I'll flip the camera and start the engine for you to see. And here. So engine cold, and starting the engine now. So you can hear the engine is pretty smooth, no rumbling, no erratic idle. So we're all good, we're all repaired. And I have actually taken it on a test drive for the past 2 days and there are no issues. So we're all good. So thanks for watching the video. I hope it helps you, and please like and subscribe and leave a comment if it's helped you out. See ya.